if at all we wanted to assess the performance of Make in India after 5 years, what are the performance that we must consider to evaluate the success or the failure of this Make in India. Hi friends, today we will look into an interesting topic called 5 years of Make in India. 5 years of Make in India. So, what is this Make in India? Why actually it started? What is the importance of Make in India? And what was the progress that we achieved so far? And what are the positive things and what are the hurdles that we need to achieve for making this program so success? So, here when it comes to this Make in India program, before we getting into Make in India, we need to understand the different sectors of the economy and their contribution to the economy. So, in our economy mainly we have three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary sector, or we can call it as agriculture sector, industrial sector and service sector. So, when it comes to the percentage of contribution to the overall GDP of the country, now present day agriculture is around 14.5 and the industry is around 29 and the remaining the percentage of service sector, and this is around 53 and 54. And here the point is that if you include the construction sector in that 52 to 53%, it will go up to the 61%. The overall services we consider it as the 61% including construction services. And here when we started our economic development, the percentage of agricultural contribution is more to the GDP, whereas services and manufacturing is less. But with the second 5-year plan, where we have started giving importance to the industrialization, and from there onwards the percentage of contribution of industrial sector to the GDP has grown to a little extent, but it never crossed beyond 30%. But when in the year 1991, when we went for the economic liberalization, and that economic liberalization has opened our economy, and in this economy the services sector has grown much more than the industrial sector, and industrial sector has not taken advantage of the liberalization process, but service sector took an advantage, and with that the service sector contribution to the GDP has grown to more than 60%, whereas agriculture now has come down to around 15% and the remaining percents around 25 to 30% is of industrial sector. And in this industrial sector we have manufacturing and other sectors, and specifically the manufacturing contribution is around 18 to 19%. So, this is a level of contribution of different sectors to the GDP. But here we need to understand, yes, these sectors are contributing this much amount of to the GDP, but what is the level of contribution of employment by this sector is also important. And if we really looking into the contribution of employment by the different sector in this economy, in the initially more than 70% of the people used to depend on agriculture, but gradually now it come down to around 45 to 50% by agriculture sector, 45 to 50% by the agriculture sector, and remaining around 30% is by the services sector. So, that means 45 plus 30 75, and remaining 25 is of the industrial sector. And in the industrial sector, if you specifically looking into manufacturing sector, and they are hardly consisting of 12 to 13%. So, why actually these figures are important? Why actually these figures are important? These figures are important because now after the liberalization process in the last 25 years, on average we are maintaining a 6% growth rate, but unfortunately the unemployment is increasing. Unemployment is increasing. That means it is a jobless growth that we are experiencing. So now it is, as in our economy, the prime duty is to provide the employment. And here when it comes to the question of providing employment, where you will provide, which sector is really able to absorb the huge amount of demographic dividend of this country. So if we really ask such a question, then agriculture sector, anyway there is a disguised unemployment, people are not willing to work in that sector, and service sector moreover it cannot absorb more than to a certain limit. So now we need to provide an employment facility in the manufacturing sector and industrial sector. That is the only alternative available to us. But anyhow we have missed a second generation economic reforms of opportunity, because we directly transformed from the agriculture sector to the service sector. So with this background, when Narendra Modi came to power, actually prior to Narendra Modi itself, we have devised a national manufacturing policy, and in that we have started National Investment Manufacturing Zone and SEZs and other things, and even there was a discussion continued since 2004 on this, how to really provide the employment to the people in our economy. But here the point is, when Narendra Modi came to power and he decided that we need to give focus to this manufacturing sector, because there are advantages to the manufacturing sector. Because suppose if we really invite the foreign investors and also the domestic investors to produce in India, certainly it will increases our GDP. This sector able to absorb so many people and it can provide so much of employment. Second advantage. Third one is that if we allow the exports through exports whatever we produced under in India, then with that we can earn forex reserves. So with this three-dimensional focus, and here in order to promote India as an investing destination and to establish India as a global hub for manufacturing, design and innovation, then we thought to give focus to this manufacturing sector. And with this intention and with this objective, Government of India started the Make in India program in the year 2014 on 25th September. And it was announced from the ramparts of the Red Fort by the Narendra Modi. So here when we really emphasizing to the Make in India program, this is what Make in India, that means you need to make in India, because when we looking into the so many products in India, yes, it is made in China, made in Germany, made in Korea. So why can't the India should not become an hub for a manufacturing sector? So with that intention we have started, and here when we have started, our basic fundamental figures are, yes, they are not that good. Whenever see, let us, if you take the case of global innovation index or logistic competitive index or ease of doing business, or it is about the processes, environmental clearances, land acquisition. So there are many problems are there in our India. And here on the other hand, service sector is growing more and more, but it is able to create only limited number of jobs. So when we started, these are the problems that our economy is experiencing. And here Government of India has given focus to the 25 major sectors. It includes even defense sector also. Defense to thermal electricity, cement, steel, iron, yes. Each and every 25 major sectors has given importance under this Make in India. So what we will do in this Make in India? In Make in India, we will attract the foreign investors, and also we will focus on the domestic investors. So we need to have a domestic investment and we need to have a foreign investment to produce more and more in India. And we have started process in the year 2014, and by the year of 2019 and 2020, now India is going to become a youngest country in the world. That means majority of the population are between 15 to 35 years of age. So there is a demography is there, and if we really provide some sort of skill to that people, and if there is already an entrepreneur culture in this country, and this combination will really give so much of impetus to this industrial sector. So that was the idea when we have started this Make in India program. So here, yes, these objectives are good and our intention is good, the environment is also fine, but here the point is that this is not the first time that we have given importance to this Make in India. The second 5-year plan, yes, it is also a part of Make in India, and whatever the liberalization we have done in the 1991, that is also a Make in India. But here specifically in the changed globalized scenario, and where we changed our track of economic development in the 1991, but here we are experiencing some sort of problems like employment in our economy, and in order to solve all these things, we have given another new impetus, new push to the manufacturing sector through this Make in India program. Make in India program. So in this Make in India, we have brought so many changes, whether it is about the investment proposals, whether it is about rules and regulations, whether it is about legislations, whether it is about some judicial arrangements. Yes, we have brought so many things, and we will looking into some of the measures that what the government has took and what are the results of that, and yes, if there are any lacuna, then also that also will look into that. So when we started Make in India, but from 2014 onwards, and gradually we have started improving, because it is not just mere slogan. The government started looking into the problems of administration. Why actually the investments are not growing in India? What are the reasons for the not starting a business? What are the reasons for why this some of the projects will become unviable? So what is the status of infrastructure sector? What are the status of road and power? And what are the available conditions for the export of the goods from the India? So gradually they started implementing the reforms. Gradually they started implementing the reforms. And here even they increased the FDI levels in defense sector, and up to 49%, yes, automatic route, and if it crosses 49% with the approval of the government, even private persons and foreigners can now enter into the defense sector, and they can produce this defense manufacturing thing. And a long pending demand of even insurance sector is also lifted up to 49%, but still they need to move it beyond 49 also. That processes are also going on. And when it comes to the clearances, when it comes to the some of the rules and regulations and clearances, earlier to start a business on average it took around some 600 days on average, so to get all the approvals, but now it has brought down to 140 days, and they wanted to bring it down to much more lesser level. And when it comes to the infrastructure development, the road construction speed has increased, the power production has increased, the renewable energy has increased. Now India has become, yes, every Indian village now electrified. Now we are targeting towards the each and every household must be electrified, and we are providing proper a quality power, because the power was earlier it is a problem, because there is no quality of power, and if you don't have a quality of power, we cannot expect a much development, and there will not be any industrial activity if there is a problem with this the power. And here when it comes to the taxation proposals also, now India is maintaining around 30% of the corporation tax, and Narendra Modi government promised that they will gradually bring it down, and gradually, yes, with some limit they started bring it down, and today now we reach to an effective rate of around 22 to 23%. That is the only thing that actually they are paying. So taxation reforms are also brought. And even when it comes to the construction of the permits, environmental clearances, and there is another problem in India is that there is a problem of exit. And some famously the people coined that India is a socialism without entry, but a capitalistic country without exit. So this was something that means in socialism there is no entry for us, and you say capitalism but there is no exit. That means if you start a business you don't know when you will exit. Suppose if you getting into the losses, then you don't know how to come out of that. There is no proper mechanism that provide a safe exit route for you. So this government has brought so many reforms, and there is a problem of capital availability, and because the banks are, yes, they are facing a lot of NPA crisis, and on the part of Make in India, in order to provide some sort of financial benefits, and they started capitalizing the banking system, and even in the capitalization of the banking system, if they think that some of the banks are not performing well, and they went for some of the merger. And here when it comes to the loan availability, there are so many things that were brought in this loan, giving some sort of loan, because here in this loan category the MSMEs are one sector, they will get some problem, and here it is the bigger industries, they are also getting some sort of problem. And for smaller and medium industries, they have started Pradhana Mantri Mudra Yojana. So that means micro unit development refinancing agency, and in that they used to give the loans without any collateral up to 10 lakhs of rupees, So in that way they started, and even they started a new scheme called providing the loan of up to 1 crore, sanctioning loan of up to 1 crore within 59 minutes. The sanctioning process will be completed within 59 minutes. So that things are also brought into this. And when it comes to the labor laws, the government is consistently saying that yes, we need to change these labor laws, because these labor laws are one of the biggest reason that has become an hurdle in creating or in expanding the new investment environment. So but unfortunately that was not done, but some states are doing, and for that union government is giving acceptance. And when it comes to the exit route, and how we need to solve this problem of twin balance sheet, because on the one hand your company is getting into the losses, on the other hand your government bank is also getting into the losses. So in order to solve the twin balance sheet problem, and the Parliament of India has passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So with this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, there is a National Company Law Tribunal, and that try to reduce the conflicts and try to settle the issues of these loans and whatever the pending payments and debts. So this is also, yes, it is also in the pipeline, because it is giving results. And when it comes to the other policy issues are, yes, some of the relaxing some of the FDI norms in some of the sectors, and here even the defense procurement policy has also changed in the year 2016, and here they look for domestic content requirement. And here when it comes to the offset manufacturer, whoever is there, and for him offset manufacturer and original equipment manufacturers, earlier they need to reveal everything to the government of India, but now they said that no, this offset partner, you no need to, the original equipment manufacturer is no need to reveal the offset partner, So that means such type of rules and regulations are relaxed in order to attract the investment, even in the defense sector also. And it is not just the defense sector, and even now in the different sectors like food processing also we have started giving importance, because we are starting mega food parks, because this food parks is also part of Make in India, because it is have a capability to provide employment, and it is having a capability to double the income of the farmers, and it can really revive the rural economy. So this is also the thing that was happened. And the another biggest major taxation reform is something about the GST, goods and services tax, because of there is no clarity on the what is the tax of the India, because yeah, the union government can levy only certain type of taxes. Remaining taxes are with the state, and that too they vary from state to state. So, because this has become something very difficult for the investors, and why can't we bring a common market in the entire India? So, this was an idea of 20 years back, but anyhow this government has brought that the GST, and with the GST the tax rate has become uniform, and whatever it is a customer base, it is a consumer based tax, or no, whatever the intermediary tax, that will be abolished or they will get the refund, and there is no problem of check post at the crossing the border. And if the problem of check post is not there, then definitely your warehousing facilities and other also reduces. So the overall cost of the producer or the supplier has come down. So this GST is also one of the biggest reform in this course of Make in India, because it has also facilitated for investors to really come to India. And this is one type of the measures we have taken. On the other hand, we started focusing on MSMEs. So MSMEs are very important, because your large corporate houses, they are hardly giving an employment to not more than 2 crore people, but whereas your MSMEs are creating 12 crore employment of 12 crore they are providing. That means these MSMEs are having a huge capacity to produce the enough employment. So that is why some of the rules and regulations are relaxed, some licensing process has relaxed, and the credit facilities are, they try to provide some of the credit facilities to the MSMEs, and even they started giving some sort of export subsidies to these products, and here apart from these MSMEs, and here there is a new concept called startups, because this startup is nothing but it is a new innovative idea, and which if that idea is really putting into practice, then certainly it will also create an employment, and we are able to produce a high quality manufacturing things in India. So with that intention, we started giving focus to the Startup India, and here for the startup we have also relaxed the rules and self certification process introduced, and we are helping in getting the patent, and we are helping whatever the capital gain taxation, the benefits, you know, your income tax is not applicable to that, and even startups are got an tax exemption for 3 years in first 7 years. So these are some of the measures, and even we are encouraging and we are providing some support in getting the intellectual property rights and patent rights, and we are also brought a new policy of the intellectual property right policy of India with a tag called Srujanatmak Bharat and Rachanatmak Bharat. So these are some of the issues, some of the things that were started by the Union of India in this process of your Make in India. So all these processes are aiming to one thing: you need to produce more, and it has to create an employment, and with that we need to export more and more. So these are some of the things, and apart from that, and the taxation process, recently the direct taxes has also reduced, and out of all these reforms, whatever we have brought, and our position in the global indexes has really done well. Suppose if you take the case of the Global Innovation Index, Logistic Performance Index, the Global Competitiveness Index, and even Ease of Doing Business, our position has improved really to a good extent. And here recently we have seen we are at the 63rd position, and once upon a time we used to be around 136 and 140, but now we become to a position called 63, and there is a lot of scope to even come into the below 50 also. So that means these are some of the measures that are taken by the government of India in order to promote this manufacturing sector in India. And even the government e-portal, where, and even public procurement rules, because government has to procure from the local content, the local content or local producer. So these are some of the measures that are taken by the government of India in order to promote this Make in India. So here So okay, government has took lot of these measures, and we have an ambitious targets like okay, we need to attract the foreign investors and we need to attract the domestic investors also. There must be an innovation, there must be a research, there must be a design, there must be a production, there must be a competitiveness, and even employment and skill development. So and even in case of skill development also, government of India has set an ambition of they need to provide some skill development to 500 million people, 500 the million people, that means around 50 crore people. They need to provide some sort of skill development, and even they focused on digital literacy also. And further they have started some apprentice programs and skill development programs, and linking of industry with the educational institutions. Not all but some private and IITs and the premier institutes were linked, and the industry related research is going on in the institutes, that too in premier institutes, and some research is going on for the science and engineering problems of the country. That means in skill development also we have started our programs, and we have started a new ministry called the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Now earlier all the ministries used to go for this skill development. Now all these skill developments were subsumed under this, and even there is a lot of scope for the textile, leather and apparel industry, and in that industry also we have started providing some sort of the skill development program, because so many people are there, and there is a huge demography is there in India. And for that we wanted to utilize this demography, we went for the skill development schemes also. And here the government of India even burdening the employer share of provident fund if they really recruit the new people. So such type of measures, and even the online portals like eBiz portal, Shram Suvidha portal, and because to bring some sort of the relaxation in case of registrations, in case of labor inspections, in case of your PAN and other details. So here even now the labor inspections are also reduced, because now we are only the labor inspections are happening randomly, that to a computerized method, and they need to update it in the system within 72 hours. And the papers for the processing complete paper process has reduced. So they reduce the sheets, they reduce the forms, even income tax files for the return filing is also relaxed. So that means your processes has also relaxed, your governmental procedures relaxed, your norms relaxed, and your online platforms, they are giving some sort of encourage to really come forward to comply with the rules and regulations. So these are all the measures that government of India took under this Make in India program, and there are lot many other things are also there. So here okay, we have done in the last 5 years we have done all these things. So now if at all we wanted to assess the performance of Make in India after 5 years, what are the performance that we must consider to evaluate the success or the failure of this Make in India. So here when we started our Make in India program, our objectives are very clear. We need to promote innovation, research, and we need to attract the foreign investors, and we need to attract the domestic investors also, and we need to increase our manufacturing share of the GDP from at that point of time it was 16%, 16 to 25% by 2022, 25% by 2022, and also we need to export more and more. And we need to create some 100 million jobs in this the manufacturing sector. So these are some of our targets, and if we really looking into the things what happened in these 4 years, and what is the comparison from the earlier years to this year. So first I looking into the global export share, of this whatever the manufacturing goods. So here when it comes to the global manufacturing share, India's contribution is only 1.6% in 2014. only 1.6%. And whereas China is, they are maintaining more than 10% and they are maintaining even 15 to 20% also. But India's share in global manufacturing products export is 1.6%, but even after Make in India or whatever we have started, and after 5 years also, our share is literally increased by 0.2 and 0.3%, but not more than that. Still our share in global export of manufacturing goods is still less than 2%, still less than 2%. So that is one indicator on which we can assess. That means we have not increased our exports. Next, when it comes to our manufacturing production and our manufacturing export, if we really looking into, and if you take the case of the 2000, I am considering the figures from 2008 and 2008 to 2014, 2008 to 2014, our exports are something like $185 billion in 2008, $178 billion in 2009, $249 billion in 2010, $305 billion in 2011, $300 billion in 2012, $314 billion in 2014. That means by the time when we are starting our Make in India program, our exports are around 314 billion. And in this 340, I'm only considering this the trade part. I am not getting into invisibles. I am only looking into the trade parts. And here in the year 2014 it is 310 billion. When it comes to the imports, in the year 2008 it was 303 billion, but by the year of 2014 it has become 448 billion. That means in the year 2014 we are exporting goods $310 billion, we are importing $448 billion, and here the trade balance in the sense we are in surplus of 137 billion, we are in deficit of $137 billion. So the deficit in both the goods export and import is, the trade deficit is $137 billion. So this is what the case of 2014. And from 2014 onwards, if we really looking into that figure of $3010 billion, it has become 262, that means reduced in 2015, and 275 in 2016, and 303 in 2017, and now we have reached to 330. That means in the year 2013-14 we are maintaining around $315 billion. Now we are maintaining $330 billion. That means the overall growth is, it is not a growth, but moreover in the first 2 years we maintained a negative growth of -1% and -15%, but later in the year 2015, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19 we maintained our growth. But in the overall our exports are increased to 330 and our imports are increased to around $500 billion, around 500 billion. That overall is 500, but the trade is around $400 billion. The same figures of 480 and other 460 and 60 to 480. That means even with this Make in India program, in our trade part, that means export of goods, we are not improved enough, because the figure shows that, because here I am not only blaming the Indian government policies, but also the policies, because at that point of time the world has created some sort of conducive environment for us, because now the world economy has also stagnated, and because of that we are unable to export. But here the figures are showing this, that whatever we have maintained at the 2011 and 12, we have reached to that level now. That is something about our the merchandise trade, or whatever the trade surplus and trade deficit. So that is what merchandise trade. Why I am only concentrating on this merchandise trade means, your Make in India is for merchandise only, not for services, because we focused on manufacturing. Okay, so that is how. That means our whatever the trade deficit that we have maintained in the 2017 $137 billion, and today also we are almost maintaining that same level, and $150 billion of the deficit we are maintaining in this trade. So that is the thing, the second parameter. So first one is something about global export, second one is something global share, second is something about your own exports and imports. Next figure. So how we can assess? How we can assess? Next, third point is that it is about employment. It is about employment. So when we really looking into the employment figures, when we really looking into the employment figures, in the year 2000, the agriculture sector contribution is 59%, and 2004 it is 56, and in the year 2009 it is 53. Now we are at around 45 to 50, 45 to 50, there is no exact figure. That means there is some 3 to 4% of reduction happened in case of the agriculture sector, and specifically now I am looking into the service sector. Service sector is in the year 2000 it is 23%, in the year 2004 it is 25%, in the year 2010 25%, now it is around 30%. It is now around 30%. But when it comes to construction sector, it has increased. In the year 2000 it is 4.4%, in the year 2004 it is 5.7%, in the year 2009-10 it is 9.5%, now almost we are maintaining at 11%. But when it comes to the manufacturing sector, in the year 2000 we are 11%, in the year 2004 12%, in the year 2009 11%, and today also we are maintaining the same 11 to 13%. That means your manufacturing sector has not provided enough employment. There was an employment creation in India, employment creation is there, but when it comes to the growth rate of employment, it is very low, because recently the periodic labor force survey says that there was a huge unemployment, and this unemployment was highest in the last 45 years. But here whatever the employment has created in the last 5 years, that has not increased in the manufacturing sector, but some private survey shows that it was increased in banking sector, education and training, financial services, IT and IT enabled services, but not in your manufacturing sector. But not in manufacturing sector. That means our whatever we are giving the employment facilities, unfortunately these employment facilities has not grown considerably, according to our targets in the manufacturing sector, that we need to understand. And even in case of the skill development also, yes, when it comes to the skill development, the government of India's ambitious target is to provide skill development to around 50 crore people. This is not completely the skill development to all educated people. Some people are uneducated and some dropouts, but here the point is that yes, that Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana, and even the urban level we are giving some sort of training, but with this training we are able to provide the skill development, and we have provided some sort of placements also, but these placements and skill development has not really created enough employment in the manufacturing or industrial sector. That is what we need to understand. Some figures are growing, but not to the considerable level, and what we are spending, what we are aspiring, does we really getting into such level, we need to understand. Next, there is another figure called gross fixed capital formation. So how much amount of capital that is forming every year in India? That means the overall, the final investment in India. If we really looking into this gross fixed capital formation, because this shows that how much investment that is investing in India. So we need to have an idea about this. And when it comes to this gross fixed capital formation, this capital formation is something they maintained in the year 2004 and 5, it was around 32%. And prior to 2014 it was maintained on average around 25%, but 2004 and 5 it is 32, 2005 and 6 34, and finally it reached to a figure of 36 and 37%, and even they went to 37, 36, 37 they maintained by the year of 2014. by the year of 2014. But yes, there was a slowdown in the year 2013, 14 and 12, 13 there was a slowdown, but overall is they maintained around 36. But after 2014, unfortunately, because there are so many problems are there, and I can't go to that, because the thing is there is a problem of the NPS, there is no enough the conducive atmosphere in the world, and lack of demand in the world, and all that reasons has really led to our gross capital fixed formation to only 30%. Only 30%. That means we are unable to invest more and more amount of money in our economy. So our targets are ambitious, but our figures are not really encouraging. Not really encouraging. Next, when it comes to the FDIs, because we wanted to invest the foreign equities, no? Yes, when it comes to the FDIs, so here the Department of the Industrial Promotion and Internal Trade, so here according to their figures, so from 2000 year onwards till 2014, we got around 232 billion dollars, 232 billion dollars, 232 billion dollars of foreign investment. But whereas from 2014 to 2019, on average every year we got around 42,000, that means 420 billion dollars, 43,478 million dollars, that means 43 billion dollars, 43 billion dollars. So here this on average 43 or 42 billion dollars has finally brought a figure of 187 billion dollars of FDIs has entered India in the last 5 years, but whereas in the before that 10 years we are able to attract only 232. That means the foreign direct investments are grown more and more to India. They have come, and there is an enormous explosion of this foreign direct investment. But the point here is that does all the foreign direct investments are really entered into your manufacturing sector under Make in India? Unfortunately not. And whatever we are maintaining the foreign direct investment into the manufacturing sector, they are maintained almost a similar growth rate level, but not more than that. And even that in the first 2 years there was a slump in that FDI in manufacturing sector, but whereas anyway we are good at the services, and that service sector has get benefit of this foreign direct investment. That means whatever we are getting that current account, whatever we are maintaining a progress in current account to deficit, and whatever we are attracting the investment, whatever we are creating some sort of jobs every year, and these are actually increasing, these are actually happening in the area in which we have a strength, that is service sector. But unfortunately there was no considerable amount of the progress in the manufacturing sector. That is a hard reality that we need to understand. Maybe the domestic problems are there and international problems are there, but the figure shows that there was no, but at least we cannot expect an entire growth in the 5 years. But anyway the figure shows that there is no considerable change, especially in the manufacturing sector, especially in the manufacturing sector. So if really these things are happening, then what we must do, in order to revive this, So here actually there are many problems are there even today, because the government has really brought so many changes, and they brought new foreign policy, new foreign trade policy, and different legislations, and they wanted to bring so many things, but still there are many problems are there in India. We need to look into that. So here the point is that whenever we are doing our trade, we need to diversify our markets, because when there is a global recession, and if you have your own conventional the targets, then that doesn't work. So India need to participate in multilateral agreements, and India need to find a diversified market for the exports of its products. That is the first thing. Second one is that we must provide some sort of emphasis on these non-tariff barriers. non-tariff barriers not for the foreign country but even in our own country also, because tariff barriers anyway we are providing some sort of incentive in case of the exports, but the process, the RFID technique at the ports and reducing the time period at the ports and reducing that cumbersome process at the ports, export facilities. So these things we must liberalize. These things we must liberalize. That is a second thing. Third one is that, and we have created a new concept called SEZs in the year 2004, and here the manufacturers in the SEZs are saying that they must get some sort of benefit in this minimum alternative tax. Anyway, the government recently reduced from 18 to 15%, but we need to look whether that will really satisfy the investors who are doing their business in SEZs or not. We need to look into. Next, the resource is very important because India has having a large demographic dividend, and the demographic dividend has to be utilized. And if at all we wanted to utilize, definitely we need to provide proper education, we need to provide proper health facilities, we need to provide proper the skill development, and we need to attract the students to vocational educations, and we need to provide some world class the skill development facilities, and we need to start some incubation facilities. So these are the things are necessary in order to improve the human resource capability of India. That is very important thing, that focus must be given. Next, when it comes to the MSMEs, so MSMEs are facing a problem because they are unable to compete because they are not able to attract the good technology, and they are not attracted to the credit facilities, and after GST also they are facing lot of problem in case of these invoices and others. So here these MSMEs are really able to produce more amount of goods and provide more amount of jobs. So definitely the government has to focus on these MSMEs more, because 55% of the MSMEs are in rural area, and there is a lot of scope because the people wanted to move out of the agriculture sector, but the unfortunate thing is that we are unable to divert those people into the secondary sector, either in big manufacturing industry houses or this MSMEs. So that MSME focus should also we have to be given. Next, the whatever the startup and the angel investors, yes, there is a problem of this investment to the startups are there. Government of India has brought some schemes, but still we need to give some sort of more emphasis on that, and we need to inculcate the culture of innovation in the institutes itself. Next, when it comes to the land, yes, the 2013 LARR Act has really become a difficult thing in the process of development. That is what the complaint of the investors. So government of India tried to bring some changes, but there was an opposition from the so many sections like farmer, NGOs, civil societies and opposition parties in the parliament, and they have not done. In case of linear projects, like roads, like industrial corridors, like dedicated freights, and even our bullet train project is also facing the same problem of land acquisition. So somewhere we need to relax the rules of land acquisition, not for all but at least some strategic things, so that land acquisition is also one of the biggest problem, because that consent clause is really becoming a difficult thing in the acquiring the land for linear projects. So that is one thing. And next, when it comes to the labor laws, yes, that labor laws is also one of the biggest problem, and anyway the government of India is trying to focus, but it has done nothing in the last 60 years except to bring that Shram Suvidha portal and to bring some labor inspection changes, but there was no comprehensive change that was brought in the labor laws, and they wanted to merge all that 44 labor legislations into 4 codes, and let us hope that if that is fine, then we can expect some change. Next, there is a problem of capital availability, because banks are not able to provide because they are reeling under the pressure, and even NBFCs are also facing a problem. Now it is the time for government of India has to invest. Government of India has to invest, because in case of infrastructure no one will invest. So if the government of India provides some sort of capital, in case of capital in creating the infrastructural facilities, then this both will have its own cumulative effect on the investors and they can invest. So the government investment on infrastructure and provide some world class infrastructural facilities is really a precondition for any industrial development in any country, that we need to understand. Next, the problem of logistics, because the thing is, suppose if at all I want to start an industry in this area, I need a raw material supplier. Suppose if raw material supplier is not there in my surrounding, then if I need to really import from some far flung area and if the logistic cost is very high, then it's better to go for a cheap Chinese import. That's what how some of the manufacturers are thinking, because a big manufacturer has to be surrounded by some small manufacturing units who supplies the raw material to this, and in that supply process the logistic cost should come down, and if we have such a huge logistic cost, then definitely it is not going to help. And anyway, here we are starting some Delhi Mumbai economic corridor, Delhi Bengaluru, Chennai, and even coastal corridor of Kolkata and Chennai, and even Amritsar Kolkata corridors we are doing, and we have started the bullet train project. So that means all these are try to reduce the logistic cost, So this reducing logistic cost is very important, and this is one of a precondition for getting the business, getting into this business and start more and more investment. That also we need to focus. And there is a problem of skill development. Yes, I already told, and here we need to really focus on the skill development, and we need to coordinate with the states, we need to coordinate with the institutions, and because the enrollment in vocational education is very less in India, and the people are the skill development human resources in India is hardly 5%, whereas if you take the case of South Korea, it is more than 90%. If it is Britain and Germany, it is more than 70%. So that means we need to understand the importance of skill development, and that skill development, anyway the government has done so many things, but still need to move forward, because that has not given enough results, because earlier experiments have not given enough results. And next one is consistency in policies, because the thing is, we are not maintaining some sort of consistency in our policies, and we have a habit of change the policy, and with that policy if somebody invest, and we will bring another policy with retrospective amendment. We have seen in case of Vodafone, and even in case of the litigations at the courts. So here our policies are not consistent. So even though for the attracting so many investments, we are giving such sort of importance to the policies, and we are making some changes, but the investors are in a doubt that are these people really going to maintain such a consistency in that policies, and we must create an assurance to the investors that we are going to create a consistency in our policies, no retrospective laws, no litigation, and even commercial courts are also started, and they are trying to resolve the disputes at a lesser rate. On the other hand, the insolvency and bankruptcy code is also working, and that assurance we must provide to the investors, no retrospective laws and no red carpet and no litigations. So that's what we must provide that thing to this. And next, instead, so apart from the focusing on foreign investment, you need to focus on domestic investment also, and for increasing domestic investments you need to improve the domestic savings. So that's if the domestic savings improves, then your gross capital formation definitely improves. That will really help your domestic investor to produce, and that also create domestic consumption. So here we need to do two things. One is about the domestic economy, and another one is something about the foreign investors. So both the things we need to do. And the last and final most thing is about tax terrorism. Anyway, the finance minister has given clear guidelines to reduce whatever the hurdles in the formation of in the filing of tax returns and tax collection and tax litigation. And yes, we'll hope that if that things done better, then we can expect something. So here, Make in India with whatever ambition we have started, we are in that process. We try to bring some changes, but unfortunately, because there are some legacy problems are there for the government, and there are some structural problems are there, and there are some cyclical problems are there, and some world economy is also not conducive enough, and because of all these reasons, whatever the performance in the last 5 years is not up to that mark. The results are not up to that mark, but the processes has really the processes whatever we started the process, that has really done in a better way, because we have done so many things, we have made so many changes, but I think it will take some more time to really reflect the results of that policy changes, and once these policies, yes, whatever they come settle, and definitely we can expect a good growth rate in the manufacturing sector, and India might, there is a possibility, because India is a country of entrepreneurs, but the entrepreneurialism of India is something different, because everyone have our own shop, our own kitty thing and everything, but we are not so the innovative startups we haven't started, but we are an entrepreneur community, and here whatever the things you have implemented, yes, they are in a right direction, but this 5-year period is not sufficient, because it has not given enough results, and here there are another issues still pending in front of the government. Suppose if these issues are resolved, and these issues, the resolution of these issues and the cumulative effect of the earlier the decisions will really make India into a global investment hub, and it will become a place for exports and innovation and even manufacturing, and these things we must do in a better way, so then only we can expect such a good results. So our focus must be given to manufacturing sector along with the service sector, but anyway service sector we are doing more better, and here anyway the people are not interested in agriculture sector, and we need to divert that people from agriculture sector to the industrial sector, and for that we need to, yes, manufacturing sector and as well as MSMEs in that specifically, and startups, and all these decisions whatever they have taken and whatever they need to take, and will really, if they implemented properly, will definitely give some sort of results, and let us hope that whatever the $5 trillion of economy that what we are aspiring, and that and in that document, in that commerce ministry document, they said that $3 trillion is from service sector and $1 trillion we are expecting from agriculture sector, and remaining $1 trillion is from this industrial sector, and yes, there is a lot of scope, that there is a lot of potential to do that, if we really utilize the resource, because now once in a generation, because we got such an opportunity that now Indian population is going to have a huge youth, because it is a youngest country. So if we really utilize this thing, then India can become a really global manufacturing hub, and let us hope that government will really looking into that aspects, and let us hope that the India will really reach to such a level. And with this I am concluding. Thank you.